Recording in progress.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Mayor and City Council. Tonight is Tuesday, June 21st, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. at a regularly scheduled council meeting. Public officials with us in attendance and city officials. To my left, City Attorney Van Venerian, City Clerk Jennifer Stewart, Finance Director Ms. Chelsea Pesta, HR Administrator and Deputy City Clerk Miranda Gross, DPW Superintendent Dan Ladd, Fire Chief James Coomer, and DDA Board Member Mr. Millen, and Assistant City Manager Scott Schrader. Madam Mayor, I'd like to turn it over to you. Madam Mayor, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Would the clerk please call roll? Or I'm sorry, excuse me, I jumped ahead of myself. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and the invocation will be said by Mayor Pro Tem Luba.
Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America and to the
republic
for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Lublin, will you do the invocation, please?
Dear God, we ask you to preside over this meeting tonight. Help us to act as a unified team to open our hearts and make fair and just decisions that improve our community. Also, may we come together as a whole with the courage and strength to show kindness and compassion as we collectively work towards the betterment of humanity. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Now, would the clerk please call roll?
Yes, and for those attending virtually, please remember to state the city and state that you're attending, or county and state, please. Ackley,
Alpena County, Michigan.
Ambrose,
Here.
Fernandez, Locke, Lublin,
Here, Walled Lake, Michigan.
Osnick,
Here.
Woods.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, we've been notified by both Councilmember Locke and Councilmember Fernandez that they'll be unavailable tonight. They're asking that council excuse them by vote.
Okay, we do have a quorum, but I need a motion to excuse Councilmember Locke and Councilmember Fernandez, please.
I'll make a motion to excuse Councilmember Fernandez and Councilmember Locke.
I'll second that.
Meeting.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Could we have a roll call, please?
Ambrose,
Yes.
Fernandez, Locke, Lublin,
Yes.
Osnick,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any requests tonight for agenda changes? Anyone have anything? Okay. Then I will turn it back to the clerk for audience participation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Audience participation, we do have members of the audience physically, and if we do virtually, just as a reminder for those who are attending virtually, we do have the option, you need to press *9 on your telephone keypad, and that will do the raise hand feature. Again, that's *9. And for those that do wish to participate for audience, we do ask that you provide your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes. So first we'll go virtual. Is there any virtual? There's no virtual. Is there any audience participation physical that's not on the agenda that wishes to speak at this time? Madam Mayor, there are no audience members that wish to speak.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Next on the agenda is council report. Are there any council members who attend any boards, commissions, whether just to observe or are on the boards that has a report this evening? Anyone? None? Okay, moving right along. City Manager, I'll turn it over to you, please.
Madam Mayor, City Council members, I have several items we'll be reporting on tonight. I would begin with asking you, requesting that you, as Mayor and Council, move to receive and file the departmental and divisional statistical reports.
Is there a motion, please?
Lublin will make the motion.
Osnick will second.
Okay, any discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Locke, Lublin,
Yes.
Osnick,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Fernandez, Ackley.
Yes.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, we do need to approve the minutes. Do you mind if we bounce up the agenda prior for minute approval?
Okay, I guess we missed that. I'm sorry. Got to get my bifocals adjusted here. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes of May 17th, 2022, please?
Osnick will make the motion to approve.
Woods will second.
Is there support? Okay, any questions, discussion item? Okay, roll call, please.
Fernandez, Locke, Lublin,
Yes.
Osnick,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, City Manager, we'll turn it back over to you. Sorry for the,
Madam Mayor, Council, on your agenda, it shows that I was requesting a closed session to discuss labor negotiations pursuant to Section 8C of the Open Meetings Act. I'm changing my approach here. We have a ratified agreement with the police union. They've ratified it, and so we're going to try to do everything we need to do in open session. And if there is an issue that comes up that there's more that needs to happen, then we will have to have a closed session at a different time, if the votes are there. But before we move forward, I'm going to ask that that we talk about what we've in your packet. If any member of the council who's attending is uncomfortable voting tonight, then we may have to delay that discussion. If there are 4 votes, which is all we need, and we're going to ask for that tonight on the contract before you, then we will take the 4 votes. I'm going to introduce to you now, bear with me, the negotiating team that negotiated a contract with the police union and our Wall Lake police officers. Human Resource Administrator Miranda Gross was involved in her first negotiating session and her first contract, assisting her in a great way. It was Hannah Jakeway. As you know, she works in many hats, just like Ms. Gross does. And leading that team was my police chief somewhere, all the way in the back. They got a ratification of that. I would call upon Ms. Gross, our Human Resource Administrator, to give us a short synopsis of what's in that. I'm sure that you've all read it and you know what's in that. I'm not expecting you to vote if you're not comfortable with it, but let's do the open session, and if we need to close it down or delay the vote, we can do that. You have that option. So, Ms. Gross, can you?
Yes, thank you. So, as City Manager Witt said, you should have the agreement within your packet between the city and the Police Officers Association. The past agreement was only 3 years. This time around, it is 3 years, beginning July 1 of 2022 through June 30th of 2026. And like he mentioned, it was ratified on June 8th by the Police Officer Association, and there was some changes from the past agreement in there, including some language cleanup and some wage increases and an additional holiday.
Later on, we have a resolution if it is timely for the majority. Ms. Jakeways, you had anything to add to that?
I'd just like to thank Ms. Miranda Gross for negotiating that and working alongside not only myself, but also Police Chief Paul Shakinis. I think they did a good job.
We're going to call on Paul Shakinis right now. Paul, step up and give the council members and the audience a background on police union contracts with Wall Lake.
Well, I've been on both sides of the table. I was a past union president for the Police Officers Association. Kind of the ebb and flow of my 21 years here, we negotiated some things, and then when I was on the other side of the table, we got a lot of things back as far as the management side. City manager was very clear when he began negotiating contracts that management was going to run the operation, and that we're going to hire good police officers, firefighters, so on and so forth. So we did get a hold of that in the last 2 contracts. I believe that the police officers came to the table understanding that management rights were not going to be something we're going to discuss, although everything's negotiable. But they came to the table, I thought, with a very small list of demands, and it was short and sweet. Meat and potatoes, looking for slight wage increases to catch up, I wouldn't say comparable to area departments, but to catch them up to some point. So they came to negotiate honestly and fairly, and the ladies did a phenomenal job on it, so glad to work alongside with them.
That probably does it for us. I would like to thank Ms. Gross for her first effort, which was considerably successful. Ms. Jakeway, that will not be your last contract you negotiate. It probably is my last one. Chief, you probably got a couple more, too. So thank you for your effort, too. We appreciate it. Later on, there's a resolution here that would, should it pass, would ratify that, and we can have more discussion on that when we get to that resolution after the motion's made. So I think now we don't need any more questions. I'll move on to get a whole lot of things out of the way. Mayor, I would move on to report on the Memorial Day Parade as a city event. So it may seem redundant to some of you because we've had that discussion in some of the recreation meetings and in DDA meetings. But which one of you young people, Miranda, I think this falls to you. She's the recreation director by Fiat. So give us a background on it, and then we'll get other people to add in.
All right, sounds good, thank you. So I wanted to thank Marielle Liu, also a Walled Lake resident, who served as our Grand Marshal this year for the Memorial Day Parade. I think she did a great job. It was fun to have her out there. We got some coverage from Fox 2 News. I'd like to thank Mr. Ryan Woods for allowing us to use his vehicle for her to ride in. I'd also like to thank the Parks and Recreation Commission for their assistance with the event. I would also like to thank Ms. Jakeways and Ms. Stewart for being there and helping me out day of. We were there pretty early, getting things set up and ready to go. I'd also like to thank DPW Superintendent Dan Ladd and his crew for all the cleanup and help that they did as well. As you know, the staging area was in a different location this year, and I think it worked out very well. It was very organized, and it just really worked out well. And I think we had a huge success with the parade, the audience, and the parade participants. I think we had more than we normally have in the past. So it was a really good turnout, and I just want to thank everybody that helped out.
That'll be all we need to say on that. I expect that when we get to council discussion, we'll have more discussion about all of those events as we touch them. I'll take a moment now to ask the clerk to try to let Councilmember Fernandez in. I think she's trying to log in. So that we will.
Councilmember Fernandez, are you able to unmute? She is logged in. We'll just have to get her unmuted.
Okay, I'm here.
Oh, thank you. Great.
The record should show that she's attending our meeting. So thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, Mayor, the next item I want to discuss and report on is the Summer Festival, not only what we've done up to now, but what we're going to be doing in the next few days. So that would fall to Ms. Jakeway to begin with. I think we're going to have a little discussion on it with a couple of people. So Ms. Jakeway, would you lead on behalf of the DDA?
So as you all know, the city has been having our summer festival, also known as our beach party, in June. This is in partnership with the Walled Lake Civic Fund, who hosts the fireworks celebration that evening. So the DDA will be supporting the businesses in our downtown district for this event. We will be closing a couple streets in our downtown district. We're going to be inviting a couple food trucks out, have a few glow vendors, as well as a bouncy castle for the kids to utilize. But in response to the construction that has been happening in our Mercer Beach area, our event this year will be a little bit smaller in comparison to past events due to the maneuvering around construction and just the planning aspect of it. But the beach will be open for the public to use on June 25th. I would like to thank and recognize our DPW staff and our superintendent, who has been working vigorously to get the beach prepared for the public to use. I don't know if Mr. Superintendent Dan Ladd would like to speak to the preparation for Mercer Beach, but I'm sure we'll talk about that later on as well. But the DDA will be closing down some of the streets in partnership with some of the businesses that will also be hosting events that same day.
Why don't we let Mr. Ladd speak to what he's done and what he's left to do? By fiat, we know that we've completed a lot of construction down there, which had to get done, or we're going to really be delayed on that festival. So combine those two things, make it efficient.
Yeah.
Talk about what we've done to prepare, but it begins with talking about the construction for Phase 1. So you might as well talk about that now if you can.
Okay, sure thing. So this spring, we started Phase 1 of the Mercer Beach Rehabilitation Project. We got all the underground storm system management control installed. We got all the asphalt removed, the old curb and gutter, some of the sidewalk, the fence, and we got all that replaced, new gravel, new curb, new asphalt, and all that's done. Today they actually got down there and got it striped, so all the parking's available to be open. And poured some concrete to connect the sidewalks, just getting ready for Phase 2. So it's going to be ready to go. It's going to be looking good.
Chief, can I get you to tell the council and the public what we're doing in terms of the police department preparing for this festival and closing down the streets in conjunction with the DDA and the Rec Commission and everybody who's participating? So give us a briefing on that one, please.
So our priority is obviously security of the event, the world events. We all know that it can happen anywhere, so that's always first and foremost. So besides security, we're looking at traffic control, getting the people in, getting the people out. It's a priority to us. So we have it on our event day, a total of 22 police officers are working the event, so pretty much it's all hands on deck unless there's special circumstances. So we plan to have the majority of our officers in by noon and working through midnight, and obviously we'll have some carryover to make sure. We have to keep an eye on our beach. It's always a hot spot, and also Tiki Bar serving alcohol, so we're going to keep a close eye on all that. So it's a busy day.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Coomer, could you give us an update on what you're doing to prepare the fire department for our festival?
Sure. Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Fire Department has been working on this event months prior with the display fireworks show, as far as doing plan reviews, and on the fireworks show, the display show. We go out, do a plan review, and see what type of fireworks they're going to be using, and months before. Then on the morning of, we go out and verify that they're using the same type of fireworks and the loading zone. And then when they do the actual barge shooting of the fireworks, we go out and check the distance of the fireworks also, so there's no fallout of the fireworks that are going to do any damage. Also, we'll be providing fire and EMS services during the event.
Thank you, Chief. Madam Mayor, I'll continue if that's a good time. We're going to report on what we're referring to as the projects that everybody knows about. I'm sure that the public is already aware that Decker Road rehabilitation is complete in terms of the construction. The Michigan flowers have all been removed. In other states, we call them big orange barrels. They're gone, striping is in, and the problem that you had, you couldn't get down it, The problem now will be that they're going too fast. They're already making use of that nice roadway. It should give us some relief on Leon, because they took a beating. Those people down there, they all got diverted. But we're still going to have some diversion because the 14-mile project is not done. That is not our project. We only have a little bit of input, but not as much as when it's our project. So Decker Road is completed. You're going to see that that's not going to be obvious until 14 miles done, but you see an increase in traffic and hopefully less on Leon soon too, but they're still going to be there because of 14 mile. So we're going to talk about that later in terms of how to deal with speeders who just ignore the rules. I think the complaints about Decker Road will stop. We didn't receive any today, which was unusual, so for weeks we were having those complaints, and most of them were valid. It was just a tough time, and the solution was to get it completed, and we've done that. The next report on the project that I would like, I will have Mr. Ladd talk about it. Ms. Jakeway, can you lead with the Mercer Beach Improvement Phase 1, and then we'll talk about, Mr. Ladd's going to do it all over again about what's going on down there, so.
Sure. So as you all know, Mercer Beach has gone, starting around early March, some stormwater improvements. As you all know, there was a storm pipe that fed directly through the center of the beach, which has now been relocated, as I'm sure Mr. Dan Ladd will speak to that in a few moments here. But this project has been made possible through the SEMCOG, Southeast Michigan Council of Governments grant, as well as the Michigan DNR grant to improve the collapsing water system infrastructure in our downtown area. And now that the project has been wrapping up and Phase 1 is being completed, we're looking forward to reviewing our Phase 2 timeline. But I would also just like to thank DPW for their efforts in getting the beach prepared, but also improving the gully that was right along Witherall that was causing some concerns with the stormwater that was coming off of the hill. I don't know if Mr. Superintendent Dan Ladd would like to add on to any of the Mercer Beach projects.
Sure. So probably the root and the reason for Mercer Beach Phase 1 project was the infrastructure of the stormwater management. The pipe that was in the middle of the beach, it was undersized. It was probably put in before the beach was built. So it's 50-plus years old. It's undersized for the volume of water that comes through that pipe because of all the impervious surfaces that have been installed throughout the downtown area and the addition of extra drains that all come out at that one pipe. So with help from DDA and City Council's approval, they decided to go ahead with the infrastructure improvement of the stormwater management to include the paving and redoing some of the sidewalks and the curb and everything down there. So we installed a storm scepter, which actually the water swirls around. It's kind of like painting for gold. It removes the heavy metals from the water. The heavy metals go to the bottom. It's a very expensive piece of infrastructure. It's well over $100,000 just for that. So it's really going to be a great asset to the beach and to the lake, cleaning up all the water before it gets there. And also removing the pipe from the center of the beach and moving it off to one side. It's just going to be a great asset to the city to have our beach a lot cleaner, more usable.
Thanks, Dan. That's good. I would also point out that DPW is cleaning up. We've taken upon ourselves to clean up many areas that are not typically the city's job. We're trying to get it in shape for the festival, for the fireworks, and the day at the beach, essentially. We're going to have input from the businesses down there. I think one of our DDA members has got a real great program scheduled for his area downtown, and we're going to talk about that again, another project we got coming up. But the DPW is cleaning up everything that didn't get done. There's some people who made promises and didn't deliver, but we're going to clean it up, and then we'll deal with the future. I would also underscore yet again that we had signage and we tried to keep people safe by having them stay away from the beach during the construction area. Dozens of signs that said beach closed, park closed, and many people many people walked right through the construction area and put down their towels and did sunbathing, took their children across construction sites, even as the backhoes were moving and all of that. And that was disappointing, but it was a challenge. And fortunately, we got by that without any injuries to the beachgoers. But many people just flat out ignored that. So we did what we could do, short of arresting everybody on the beach who ignored the rules. But that's the challenge that the police department faces. So we got through that without any problems there from the beachgoers. But now the beach, I believe, is totally open now. It's totally open today. So, and today was a good day to go to the beach. It was very hot. So that's it for the beach. Some other issues about downtown will come up later because we got another project we're going to talk about downtown. We're in the business of fixing downtown with the DDA's help and with DPW's help. So kind of in the public-private partnerships, we have some people. So we'll mention that a little bit later again. I'm going to let Mr. Ladd stand right back up one more time. Sorry, Dan. And the people want to know what's going on with Pontiac Trail. Again, this is a project we contributed to. Ms. Jakeway, you got the dollars?
Yes.
Give us the numbers.
So the estimated total cost of the resurfacing for Pontiac Trail is estimated to be about $700,000, with the city's contributing match of $108,000.
So the paving should start soon. And give us your best guess estimate of what's going to happen and how that's going to happen.
Well, best guess, they've been working on and off, removing all the really cracked areas in the pavement, the worst areas. They've went through and rehabilitated the storm drains along the curb and gutter, some of them out in the middle of the road. They removed the really bad broken up asphalt, and then they replace it with new asphalt. Because when they do pave, whatever is underneath will eventually show through the new asphalt. So you want to get rid of the worst areas. And then they will mill the edges, cap it with a 2-inch new asphalt cap. Best guess, hopefully within the month they'll start paving. Middle of July. Hopefully get through the holiday, and maybe they'll get on it right after the holiday. But can't get any firm dates from the county. They're pretty quiet about it.
What he's saying is we're not aware that they've awarded the bids, and until they award the bids to the contract, we can guess that they're not going to start yet. But as we discussed in our meetings, we'll know when they're doing it, when we see those big milling machines show up. And when they start milling that, then they got 3 or 4 days after the milling starts to pave it under their own requirements. So pay attention. That's going to get done, and that's going to be a big improvement to not only all of Wall Lake, but to downtown. So it's consistent with what we've done at the beach, fixing that up. And so if that gets done downtown, and having said that, we've already got improvements downtown with the partnerships between some of the businesses. We've got new sidewalks down there, small little efforts, but we're getting that done. And you'll see some improvements on the sidewalks on Pontiac Trail and on Liberty, and a couple of those, and so we're still working on that. And along with that downtown improvements, which I believe the DDA got that going with the leadership of your father, Mr. Ambrose. The last DDA meeting was chaired by one of the members, our business owners downtown, Jerry Millen. Jerry Millen and Ms. Jakeway and with Mr. Schrader got together, and they put together an application for a grant to pave East Wall Lake Drive to cap it from Pontiac Trail all the way over to 14. And so that's on your agenda here to ratify it from the council point of view. Where are we on application and all of that, Ms. Jakeway? And then
I believe with Mr. Assistant City Manager Scott Schrader, I believe he was able to submit timely after the DDA's support of providing some of the matching funds for this grant to resurface East Wall Lake Drive from Pontiac Trail to 14 Mile. So I do believe we were able to file timely.
we were able to file because the DDA passed the resolution. It was signed by Ms. Jakeway as DDA Managing Director and Mr. Millen as Chairman, chairing the DDA that meeting. Mr. Schrader, give us a couple of numbers. I know they're already in the resolution, but give us a background on when that goes and what's possible we get. This council's dying to know. So is the mayor.
So as you said, the project is to put an overlay, do a little bit of road work improvement, and then overlay with 2 inches from Pontiac Trail to 14. This grant is, in my mind, perfect for Walled Lake at this particular moment in time. The requirements for the grant require partnerships, and with the DDA's assistance, with the other projects that are being conducted in that area, with the resurfacing of Pontiac, with the resurfacing of 14, this arterial connector would be a perfect project to fund by the state. It is a 50% match. We have submitted a request for $325,000. That would consist of approximately $285,000 in milling and paving, and then $10,000 for striping, and then there's a $30,000 what I would characterize as a contingency because of the uncertainty of the pavement pricing. The plan is to, or from the county's or the state's perspective, is to have awards sometime the end of August. This project, if it's approved, would not take place until the following year. As I said, there's a 50% match. What has been presented by the DDA and the manager's office is to have both entities, both the DDA and the city, as proposed, to fund that 50% match. So 25% of the $325,000 would be coming from the DDA, and then the other $81,000, the other 25%, would be coming from the city's coffers.
That's a good explanation, and what that means is fund balance. So what we have in the DDA fund balance is a little less than $300,000 now. Got the numbers on that for me, Mr. Schrader?
Sorry. Yeah, the DDA's fund balance is estimated at the end of this fiscal year to be approximately $280,000. There was a $50,000 add, if you would, projected for the next fiscal year to build back fund balance into the DDA's fund. So at the end of next year, if you would, we would be estimating a $330,000 fund balance. This $81,000 would be taken away from that $330,000.
The leadership of the DDA has always talked about, this is about downtown, so that's why we're contributing, but it seemed fair. It's all the taxpayers' money, but we're paying some out of our fund balance, so I say ours, meaning the general fund. I kind of wear both hats there too, but splitting it up, it keeps some money, some cash flow for the DDA should they want to do smaller projects as a DDA independent of us. So that's what we're asking you to do tonight, is to ratify that. And if we're fortunate, we'll get that. And then East Wall Lake Drive, it's not only a business corridor, but it's a residential corridor too. A lot of people travel their children to school and all of that, so it's a combination event. But it does a great deal for downtown business area as well, getting it capped and all that. So later on here, we're going to ask you to vote for that ratification. Thank you, Mr. Schrader. I believe, Ms. Gross, you're back up. That would be to give us an update and a final update on the Riley Park. That's another city sponsor, come from Recreation Commission. The DDA is getting a lot of credit today because the DDA laid the groundwork, saved the money, and this council and the new DDA leadership got to spend it on the right things, and they have done that. So.
Thank you. So Ms. Jaques is getting a PowerPoint pulled up, if you just give her a moment. I went out and took pictures of the old equipment. I took pictures of it being torn down, and then got some pictures of the new equipment, and put together a PowerPoint for the Parks and Recreation Commission, and was asked to share it here tonight with you guys as well. So Ms. Jaques is just going
But put
to
that picture
kind of
back.
flip
That
through
picture
them.
is probably a good indicator of what we replace. That's still there because we're going to replace those benches too, but that's indicative of how the play structure was looking too, really old and worn and weathered. So that bench is still there as sort of a memorial to how long it took to get it done. But we will be replacing that this summer. Mr. Ladd, our superintendent, is working on getting those benches in place, and we'll get those done. So you get a picture of how weathered they were. Those were state-of-the-art at the time, and I'm sure there's some adult people running around here who played on that many times, so there's a few memories. It was the way they did it back then. They designed it that way. I guess they had wood chips and different kinds of things. State-of-the-art is coming, and we'll see that in a minute, but this is a look at what we've replaced. It's pretty rough to bring your small children to play on that, so it was timely that the Rec Commission got on that and the council, and the DDA supported that one too. But go back. Go back. There. That was the play structure, the rust, so it was timely. And the DDA pretty much came to the rescue, and the Rec Commission. And do we have Ms. Gross on the backhoe there? Can anybody see that? I have a question why my human resource administrator is on a backhoe, but then she told me that you said we wear a lot of hats, and she did, so thank you, Ms. Gross.
And that's the rubber matting material that is down instead of the wood chips.
Yeah, this replaced the wood chips, and by comment from the people using it, and they're using it by volume now, they've all been pleased with, and are pleased with the structure and the rubber matting instead of the wood chips. They specifically said that because we visited as recent as yesterday, and it was full then. So the kids are there. They found it.
And here is a picture of the new benches that look a lot better.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gross. I think that that about does it for the reports on our project. I have a couple of other things to report. We are going to move towards traffic enforcement this summer, beginning this week. Chief, do we have a presentation for City Council and the public on the new radar devices we got?
Yes, sir, we do. So I believe it was 3 years ago, we started utilizing, instead of the big radar trailers, which have to be towed out, radar signs. So they attach to a speed pole. They're fairly maneuverable. What we found, though, is early on, they were a little bulky and didn't give a lot of information. I know there's been a few times where council members have reached out to me looking for data. You get the complaints, they come to you. Of course, we do too, but we always talk to our elected officials. So we're looking for some data-driven approach. So looking for a piece of equipment that not only doesn't just display a speed, actually shows us when the speeders are coming down, gives us an idea of time frames, averages, highs, traffic counts. That's also been very useful. We're talking about East Walled Lake Drive. Prior to the 14-mile project, that road saw 5,000 cars a day. It's a lot of vehicles. So I know we spoke about this at some point. This is the newest sign. So after some research, our colleagues down in Novi did all that for us, and this is the sign. It's all traffic solutions out of Pennsylvania. It's all American made, built in Pennsylvania with as many parts from American components as they can find. It has cloud capability, And also, if you look right here, actually has a built-in camera. So not only are we going to find out about when our speeders are coming through, giving us time frames, highs and lows, but we're going to get a picture of them as well, of what they're driving, and we think that'll be useful. So as soon as the end of the week, we should be deploying this. This comes with a full warranty, all backed up. So we're looking forward to getting it out there. We do see a difference when the speed signs, the radar signs are out there. I would say, just a ballpark guess, about 50-60% of people are paying attention. The other 40-50%, whatever it happened to be, are oblivious. And that's what we're finding on Decker Road. I myself spent some time down there yesterday, and people just have no clue and don't care. So manager and I talked about it at some length about what we can do, and it's just simply going to come down to traffic enforcement. So we will try to be nice, we'll do warnings, and after that, we're going to write it down for them. We're going to issue citations, and fortunately, that's what we have to do. But looking forward to deploying this. There's a solar option. We'll look at that, some more permanent locations, problems, spots in that. So this is our first one. We're going to give it a run. This was also purchased with federal forfeiture funds, so no expense to the taxpayers. They are not cheap. They come in just shy of $5,000, and that includes the warranty and the cloud solution. So we will take good care of it. So, any questions, Council? Sir?
No, thank you.
I do.
Thank you, Chief.
On Zoom. Chief, you're using the drug forfeiture funds?
Yes, sir.
Purchases?
Yep, federal forfeiture
Very
funds.
nice.
So no expense to the taxpayers.
Very good. And then also, what is the speed limit now on Decker between 14 and 15? 14 and Maple.
Superintendent Ladd and I just had a conversation. We were waiting for the striping. That was kind of the final piece of the puzzle. So that occurred today. Through the construction, that was 25 miles an hour. It is 35 miles an hour normally, so we should be able to make that change hopefully tomorrow. We're not enforcing the 25 as of today. We will go back to 35, but 35 miles an hour on Decker Road on that section.
And then the next section going north is 30? Or is it 35? No, I think it's 30 going around to South Commerce.
35 up to Pontiac Trail, and then 25 north of Pontiac Trail.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir.
Chief, how long is the warranty for it?
So as long as we're paying for the cloud solutions, the warranty is included. So what I'm being told is that Novi is seeing 12 to 15 years is what this is expected to last. So yes, it's a big investment, but we should see 12 to 15 years out of this. And as long as we're paying for the cloud solution, they're going to warranty it. They say this is hurricane glass. We're going to find out. It's also tamper resistant. Someone wants to go up and mess with the sign, it's going to take a picture of them. And it also has GPS location, so we're going to find it if they peel it off the sign and take it to their garage. And then we're going to take them to jail. So
Chief, it seems like you got all the precautions and everything handled.
let's hope.
I'm excited. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Let me point out that Deputy Chief Koki was the holder of the new sign.
Arvana White.
She gets to write the first ticket. Thank you, Chief Shekinnis. I'm nearly complete, but I want to tell you one more thing I want to bring up. I can't give you too much detail, but the incident that you all heard about and I guess made its rounds on social media, it happened last night, 11:09. Police department got a call of someone struck by a vehicle. It turns out that happened in a parking lot of a business. It doesn't appear that the business was involved. It was simply a parked vehicle. It involved a couple. It probably involved drinking. I won't commit the police department or the fire department to what they found. That wouldn't be appropriate, but everybody saw the fire trucks and the police cars and all of that. They did have to extricate an individual from under a vehicle who was balled up. He was run over by a vehicle, and it's my understanding that he's in critical condition still in the hospital. And there's a police investigation going on, but what I would point out to you is our police officers in our fire department responded and did what they needed to do, and it's a perfect example of why we need the police and why we need the fire department and why we need to support our first responders. They look pretty good back there, the two chiefs, or all three of them, but I don't think any of the three got any sleep last night. They were up real late. It was a crime scene, but it was also a serious accident where there may be loss of life. It's still probably up in the air. So I won't make them say anything more about it because it is a pending police issue. But that's what you saw, that's what was on social media, and that's what all the lights and the sirens and things were about last night. Our team, your team, Mayor, did a good job of responding and did everything they could to save a life. So thank you, police. Thank you, fire department. And for that probably ends what I need to say tonight until we get down to the other issues. Mayor?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We will move on now to correspondence. Madam Clerk, do we have any?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay. We'll move on then to the attorney's report. Attorney Venerian, would you like to step up to the plate?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. What you have before you tonight is a proposed lot split and combination. As I've indicated in my memo, these typically are decided by the Planning Commission or city administration, but because this particular proposal involves the split and the conveyance of city-owned property, that's the reason that it is before the City Council tonight. And as I've also indicated, because it involves the conveyance of city-owned property, it would require the affirmative vote of a supermajority of at least 5 members of council in order to approve this. The proposal itself is fairly straightforward. The city owns a approximately 4.5 acre parcel of land on the northeast corner of West Maple Road in Ladd. It is largely unimproved. The applicant in this case, Turning Point, owns the parcel directly to the north of the city parcel. The two share a common lot line. The two parcels were previously one parcel back in the late 90s. That one parcel was split in half, with the city acquiring the southern half of the parcel and the then owner retaining ownership of the northern parcel, which was eventually conveyed to Turning Point. Turning Point is proposing to split off a triangular-shaped portion of the city lot along the northern common lot line. A portion of their parking lot encroaches onto the city parcel, and I'm assuming that's why they're proposing this is a method of resolving that encroachment. As I've indicated in my memo, because it is city-owned property, the city is under no duty to convey the property, and Turning Point certainly doesn't have any legal right or interest to receive a conveyance of that property. It is largely discretionary up to council as to whether or not they decide to approve this or to not approve it. The two unresolved issues that would ultimately be up to council to decide as part of this proposal would be what should the consideration consist of, and what, if any, conditions precedent should be imposed here. And I've left those as blanks in the resolution in the event that the council decided to move forward with this. One option would be, and a representative from Turning Point did reach out to me by email. I believe it was yesterday to discuss this. I haven't responded to that person yet. But one option for council tonight would be to allow the city manager and myself to engage in some negotiations and some discussions with Turning Point, and then come back at the next meeting and report back and hopefully have some recommendations as to what the form of the consideration or the amount of the consideration should consist of, and what, if any, conditions precedent should be imposed. And those are obviously key issues that the council will need to to address and ultimately decide if council is interested in moving forward with this.
I think we have to have that before we can move forward. I don't know, I would be in favor of the city attorney and the city manager doing the negotiation and coming back to us in July or whenever you can come back, but I'm interested in what the rest of council feels on this.
What is the history of the entire property for the city? Is there a need for that whole entire property to be owned or kept long-term?
I don't know the history. I have not gone back there. I've been 12 years here, and I've not seen any need that we would have. Again, the need, when they did what they did, it's hard to say what their plans were or what they did it, but, you know, I don't see any reason we can't do what they want to do, but it will turn on consideration. But the history of it would take a little more research and bring it back. My history is 12 years. That's a pretty long time, and we've not needed any of that. That's sort of a swampland area over there. They've encroached. There's some people in the past that have encroached, looked like on some of the properties there and built, because nobody was checking. But I think the city attorney will tell you they can't take city property by adverse possession. Even if they've improved it, it still belongs to the city. So to give you a history on that, I'm not sure that we can do that in any day or two. We'd have to go back, but I don't know, and I don't know who's still around. We go to the old folks and see why they decided to do what they did back then. I don't know the answer to that. We can pull documents and say what happened, but we won't know why. So we need somebody who's 100 years old to tell us that story. A city attorney probably knows more about the documents because he's been looking at them.
As near as I can tell, it was acquired as part of the Maple Road Extension project. Why that?
My recollection as well.
I agree.
I wasn't born.
Yeah. Why was it that size, and why did the city? And the city did pay $200,000 for this parcel of land. I should point that out as well. We didn't. We didn't pick it up for a song by any stretch. The city paid good money for that, and it is used currently. My understanding is it was acquired for use as right-of-way and wetlands mitigation. There might be part of that. It may be because it's a protected wetland, and it was just decided that it would be better if it was in the city's hands to manage the wetland portion of that property, but there isn't a whole lot of documentation available. I did do some searching, and all I could really tell is that it was likely acquired as part of that Maple Road Extension project, and that's it.
If it was required, if we did acquire it because of it being part of a wetland, because of the Maple Road Extension, what does that do at this point to whether we can convey this property over for whatever negotiated agreement that you make?
There's no restriction on the city as far as its ability to convey this pie-shaped piece along the northern lot line. As I stated, the city has broad discretion in choosing to either convey that parcel or to hang on to it. We might want to take a closer look at it in terms of, are there some stormwater issues that maybe need to be addressed? If that's, maybe that wetland is part of the stormwater drainage system over there, so we'll have to take a closer look at that. That might be another condition that we might recommend when we come back.
Wouldn't that fit just about what the mayor said? If we get instructions to negotiate or come back to at the same time, we can come back with a little better update on the history of it. At the same time, that may help us give a recommendation of what consideration is going to be. So it seems like the mayor's right that we probably ought to take a moment and look at it, and we can maybe fill in some of those blanks. I'm not hopeful that we'll know exactly why, but it could, we might be able to determine that if we look through the paperwork. But certainly we need to talk about consideration. So I think Mayor ought to call for a vote on what she suggested. Giving instruction.
Motion, please, to.
Wait,
to
I'd
move
like to say something. I've read over the packet, and I'm understanding what everybody's saying. It's a piece of property that we're not using. The amount of property that they need is very little from this piece, and I definitely support giving the city manager, and I'll make the motion to give the city manager and the attorney the right to go and negotiate in good faith, and then bring back to us what they can get for this in a trade, possibly somewhere else, or whatever they feel is could be useful for the city.
Okay, I don't think we should limit their negotiations. Let them figure that out. but-
Absolutely.
Is there support for the motion?
Is the motion just for that triangular piece of property, or the consideration of the entire piece, or bits and pieces?
The proposal is just the split and conveyance of this triangular-shaped piece of property. You know, we'll talk to them if there's some reason to talk about a larger portion or a different configuration, then certainly we'll bring that back to council if there's some reason to go there or have that discussion. But right now, the proposal that's before the council is just limited to that triangular-shaped piece.
Postnick will support.
Okay, we do have a motion, we have support. Any further comments on this? Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Lublin,
Yes.
Bosnick,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Fernandez, Locke, Ackley.
Yes.
Oh, Fernandez, thank you. Got you were there.
Sorry.
Locke, no, you're fine. My apologies. Locke and Ackley.
Yes.
Thank you.
I would point out that it appears there are some representatives from Turning Point who are here this evening. They may want to address council on this.
Okay.
That's up to council if you want to hear from them or not, that you can wait until public comment, or if you want to hear from them now, or...
You know, I think you and the city manager moving ahead, discussing it with them until you have your discussions and come back to us. I don't know that it really is necessary tonight.
Very well.
I concur.
Okay, the next item I have for council this evening is first reading of a proposed amendment to Chapter 50, Offenses and Miscellaneous Provisions. This ordinance amendment was prepared at the request of the Police Department. Essentially what it does is it's an ordinance that adopts regulations pertaining to marijuana-related offenses. As council knows, and as most people know, there were a number of state laws that have been adopted over the past 10-plus years or so that have legalized possession, use, cultivation of marijuana, but it's within limitations. There are limitations regarding age, there are limitations regarding quantities that can be possessed and used, there are limitations on where marijuana can or cannot be used, and those limitations are pretty well all laid out in the state laws itself. What this ordinance does is it simply adopts those state limitations and restrictions and regulations and makes them a part of the city's code of ordinances, so the city can enforce that at the local level.
Okay. What's the pleasure of council? Would you like to do first reading? I need a motion.
Postnick will make the motion to have the first reading of ordinance number 362-22 an ordinance to amend Chapter 50 offenses and miscellaneous provisions to adopt violations and penalties for marijuana-related offenses in accordance with state law.
Woods a second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on this? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Osnick,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Fernandez,
Yes.
Locke, Lublin,
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes,
Thank you.
okay. Do you have anything else, Mr. Attorney?
That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we do have one item in unfinished business. Do I have a motion for second reading of C 361-22? Is there a motion, please?
Ambrose will make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Osnick will second.
Okay, any discussion? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Woods,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Fernandez,
Yes.
Locke, Lublin,
Yes.
Osnick,
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move into new business. The first item up is the agreement with the Police Officers Association. I guess if somebody makes a motion, we'll find out if you're ready to move ahead with this. There was no objection to not having the closed session. So at this time, do I have a motion to approve?
Woods will make the motion to accept proposed resolution 2022-23, a resolution ratifying the collective bargaining agreement with the Police Officers Association of Michigan on behalf of Walled Lake Police Officers Association beginning July 1st, 2022, and ending June 30th, 2026, and authorizing the city manager to execute.
Ambrose will second that motion.
Okay, any discussion on it?
Lublin has one second. Lublin, I just want to make sure, when it comes to these contracts, it's the pensions that have always come back to us. And I believe on page 100 of our packet, the multiplier is not changing for the new employees. Now, this would be a question for Chief, our negotiators. The 1.5 multiplier is the same as it was previously?
Yes, that is correct.
And with that, the unused vacation time and things like that does not get added into...
Councilmember, this is the manager. If we're going to continue this discussion, we need to delay the vote and go into closed session.
Thank you, sir. Bennett, do you want to further this discussion in closed session? We'll probably have to do it at the next meeting.
If that's what it takes, but you're discussing
No, that's
issues that are in the
fine.
contract, and should it fail, we're going to find ourselves in an unfair labor practice situation. So I think that you should delay the vote based on the conversations that you want to have. If it's not going to vote, I don't want to call a vote and have it fail. We can't publicly negotiate at this point. You know, we cut the deal, and if it's rejected, it ought to be rejected in private session, and we go back then and vote publicly, but this is not the way to do it.
So therefore, can we go into an executive session tonight and come out? So these answers shouldn't be...
You can call for a closed session tonight. It's on the agenda, so it wouldn't be inappropriate, because I did not call it. It's on the agenda, so you can call that out tonight and then settle that discussion and then come back out and vote it up or down. Yes, you can do it tonight.
But then I'd like to go into closed session for discussion on the on this resolution.
Okay, that'll be, if we go into closed section, I will invite the team, Miranda Gross, our Human Resource Administrator, Ms. Jakeway, one of the members of the team, and the police chief, and let's say Mr. Schrader. Can you include in there in terms of discussing the financial issue there? So they will be in closed session. That's my request at the end of the meeting, so that everybody who's not going to be in it, listening or whatever. So yes, closed session.
Right, I thought it was going to be
Mayor
a
would
closed
personally
session.
rather see this at the next meeting. Is there any problem if this is held over until July?
I can't hear what she said.
She's
I
asking.
said
She
I
asked
would
if there's any-
prefer to see this at the July meeting. Is there any reason it can't be held over?
She would prefer it to take place at the July meeting. Is there any reason it should not?
No, whatever you want to do, the council has to say. I just don't want to have a public negotiation after we've already approved, or, we've cut the deal with them. So we're allowed to reject it, but we need to have these discussions in closed session.
We would need a second motion, correct, for his revised motion?
Well, you need to either withdraw the motion as your parliamentarian, or move to table, and that'll take precedence over everything till the next meeting. And then we can still go into closed session tonight. I mean, if the mayor wants to do it at the next meeting, that'll still work.
I can do it tonight.
It's up to council, but I definitely would prefer it at the next meeting. I would rather see us table and have it at the next council meeting, but whatever the majority of council wants. Is there a motion?
There is a motion already. The question is, if you call the motion, and if the vote passes, then there's no more discussion and no harm, no foul.
What do we have to do to, we haven't had this in a long time. We got a motion on the floor. We don't want to vote on that motion tonight. We need a motion to table it.
You move to table.
Okay, I have a motion to table. Is there support?
I'll support.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Let's see. Fernandez?
Yes.
Thank you. Locke, Lublin,
Yes.
Osnick,
No.
Woods,
No.
Ambrose,
No.
Ackley.
Yes.
Did the motion pass?
I'm not
table?
sure what the count was. I didn't hear Fernandez.
So there's 3 noes.
3 to 3.
Yeah, 3 to 3.
It did or it didn't?
It's tied.
3 to 3.
3 to 3.
The motion did not pass.
No.
Okay,
That was the motion to table. All right, I may offend somebody, but Mayor, call for a motion to approve the resolution ratifying the contract. If there's 4 votes, we're going to call it passed, regardless of the discussion that didn't occur.
okay. Let's have a roll call vote then.
Locke, Lublin,
No.
Osnick,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Fernandez. Fernandez.
Yes.
Thank you. Locke, Ackley.
Yes.
Motion
It was
passed
5 to
to
1. Motion carried.
approve the resolution ratifying.
Yes.
The
Vote of 5.
contract is approved by City Council. Councilmember Lublin, I apologize. You can ask any question you want now, and I will have anybody here answer those questions now, because it's passed.
Oh,
With all due
That's-
respect.
okay. So the question is when figuring pensions, the unused time, does that accumulate from year to year, and you can balloon it in the last year?
Anybody
Which
got
is
that?
where pension is generally built upon.
Come on up. I'm going to have the police chief, because he can hear you better than me, he's closer, but also to address every particular issue on there. We'll tell you anything you need to know now, and it wouldn't be considered because it just passed. So, Chief, answer his question.
Yes, sir. The answer is no. Only base wage is factored into pensions.
And I'm happy. That's enough said. Thank you.
Okay.
That's it?
That's it.
I apologize, Councilmember Lublin.
No, that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear.
Got to save sometimes save you from yourself, you know. I didn't want to get into an unfair labor practice that could have failed, and that's exactly where we would have gone. So,
Okay, moving on to item number 2. Need a motion on proposed resolution 2022-24. This is the Transportation Economic Development Fund that we talked about earlier in the meeting.
Ambrose will make that motion. Proposed resolution 2022-24, Transportation Economic Development Fund.
Lublin
Okay.
supports.
Okay, we have a motion, we have support.
Mayor,
Yes.
at this point, under discussion, I'd like to thank the DDA and the chairman for that meeting, Mr. Jerry Millen, for advancing the DDA's resolution, which is in your packet. He advanced that resolution, which allowed us to timely file the grant. Had we not had that, then there was a chance that we weren't getting authority from an entity that could apply. And by Mr. Millen advancing that, he not only advanced the improvement of downtown East Wall Lake, but not only for his business, but for all of the citizens that live down there, and it is a corridor for citizen traffic as well as business. So we thank him for that. And what we need here, we need this to pass to ratify that and guarantee that we're supporting what goes on. We expect that there's a good chance that goes. Mr. Schrader did a fine job already of telling you what it means. So had it not been advanced, then we were running the risk of not having the support that the government requires to advance the grant. So thanks to DDA, we got it done. And we need your vote on this one now.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have any comments?
Not specifically for the resolution, but request for the DPW or the city staff to review maybe opportunities, as in straightening the sidewalk in some areas, if it could go on and review it for later possibility.
We can do that.
Yes.
She's logged in as well?
Okay.
Sorry.
Welcome aboard, council member.
That's a mom right there.
There you go. You know.
Made it. Leading the meeting.
Anyone else?
Okay, we're on number 2 in new business, Mindy.
Yep.
Okay, we need a roll call vote, please.
Lublin?
Yes.
Osnick?
Yes.
Woods?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Fernandez?
Yes.
Locke? Ackley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is proposed resolution 2022-25. This is the delinquent water, sewer, and refuge receivables. One we have to do every year. Do I have a motion?
Woods will make that motion to approve the proposed resolution 2022-25.
Is there
Fernandez will
support?
second.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Osnick?
Yes.
Woods?
Yes.
Let's see, where am I at? 1, 2, 3. Ambrose?
Yes.
Fernandez?
Yes.
Locke? Lublin?
Yes.
Ackley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, number 4 is proposed resolution 2022-26, delinquent property transfer affidavits. Again, another housekeeping motion. Do we have or housekeeping item, do we have a motion?
Osnick will make the motion, a resolution for the 2021 delinquent property transfer affidavit fees to be placed on the 2022 July City of Wall Lake tax roll, this being resolution 2022-26.
Woods will
Movement
second.
supports.
Okay, we have a motion support. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Woods,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Fernandez.
Yes.
Locke, Lublin,
Yes.
Osnick,
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is proposed resolution 2022-27, the amendment to the water service contract between Great Lakes Water Authority and the city. Do I have a motion, please?
Lublin will make the motion to, to approve the amendment to number 5 to water service contract between Great Lakes Water Authority and the city of Walled Lake, that being proposed resolution 2022-27.
Is there support, please?
Woods will second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Fernandez.
Yes.
Locke, Lublin,
Yes.
Osnick.
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is proposed resolution 2022-28, interlocal lockup services agreement with the city of Wixom. Do I have a motion, please?
Fernandez will make that motion.
Is there support?
Woods will second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Fernandez.
Yes.
Locke, Lublin,
Yes.
Osnick,
Yes.
Woods.
Yes.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is proposed resolution 2022-29, assessing services with Oakland County Equalization. Do I have a motion, please?
Osnick will make the motion, a resolution to the City Council of Walled Lake authorizing the agreement with Oakland County Equalization for assessing services for years 2022-23, this being proposed resolution 2022-29.
Is there support?
Support.
Okay, we have support. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Locke, Lublin,
Yes.
Osnick,
Yes.
Woods.
Yes.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Fernandez.
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Last on our list is proposed resolution 2022-30, city policy relative to poverty exemption. Do I have a motion, please?
Woods will make the motion for proposed resolution 2022-30.
Is there support, please?
Osnick will support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Lublin,
Yes.
Osnick,
Yes.
Woods.
Yes.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Fernandez.
Yes.
Locke. Ackley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the end of new business. We'll now go into council comments. We'll start with Mr. Osnick.
No comment.
Mr. Ambrose.
It's gonna be exciting. City's getting ready. We're gonna have some fun events soon. I mean, we got the Walled Lake Festival entirely. The Walled Lake Civic Fund, they've been working diligently to get this party all started. They have been working all winter with some of their projects, their bowling fund, as well as other different events to raise money for this. The Walled Lake Farmers Market, it's going great. Another one is tomorrow. It is looking better and better each show. I mean, it's just a great time to be in Walled Lake. I could just keep going on and on about Dan Ladd's projects and all the roads that are just drivable now. Chief Shekinnis, they're safe. I mean, I could keep going on and on. It's just amazing time to be in Walled Lake.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Woods.
I would continue on those comments to say great job to city staff. The Memorial Day Parade was outstanding. Riley Park is looking outstanding. Decker Road is looking outstanding. Mercer Beach is looking outstanding. We continue every council meeting saying this, and it's well-deserved. If you're paying attention on the video or at home, One of the things to take note from today's meeting is, roughly $1.7 million of, road funding. That's being supplemented by the city by about $360,000. So we're getting a good job on the team is doing a great job on the investment, right? And we can already see the bang for the buck. Walled Lake is turning around. There's been a lot of work put in, and I continue to appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilperson Fernandez.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to say thank you. Sorry I'm late. I was driving down listening the whole way. I want to talk about the parade, the concerts coming up on Wednesday night on the 22nd, our first one for the season. It's going to be a lot of fun, so check out the website and come on down. The other thing I want to do is thank all the people who are volunteering on our boards and commissions. These are citizens, just like everybody, all of us, and they give their time and their talents to help run the city, and I really want to appreciate all of the people who volunteer on our boards. They do a lot of work, and they don't get a lot of accolades, and they don't get any money. So we really want to thank them and encourage anybody. The application's right on the website, so if you want to stick your nose in and start doing some work around here, we would love to have everybody join. So check it out and get on a board.
Thank you. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Lublin, I didn't forget you.
Thank you. I just want to say, Ryan, what you said, or Councilman Woods, about the city's portion, 15-20% of the total of these major roads completed is outstanding, and we owe that to our administration team and the entire team. And Decker Road ahead of schedule. We won't get complaints now on Decker Road for the potholes, which is wonderful. And the beach is looking good for our summer festival this Saturday. So I look forward to that. Thank you.
Okay, next item, I guess, would be the mayor's report, and I can only echo what everyone has said. I think we owe a big kudos to our staff, our boards and commissions. From the top right on down, the city manager has spearheaded and told us for so many years we're working on it. Well, we're finally seeing the work come to fruition, and it's great. A lot of years we just kind of sat and spun our wheels and promised, and the people are really seeing what can be done when you plan and look ahead, and it's really great. I'm glad to see Walled Lake is in a great a shape as it is, and thank you to everyone. And with that, I would say I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, everybody in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, have a good one, folks.
Good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.